I was the municipal deputy for 10 years before 2021, and I had to leave the country due to various persecutions. And I'm quite interested to ask you a much broader question on the participation in the elections, because today we're talking quite a lot about the instruments of how they can be checked if they are fair or something like this, but I think that it is much more important to have the institutions you can trust. And what I've seen for the last 10 years is that we always had, in the authoritarian country like Russia, we always had this discussion between people who supported the idea of participation in the elections, which were actually very falsified, and which had the candidates who would eventually win, because the fraud was always like this. The president, for instance, he has the right to choose candidates who will participate, and he can expel those whom he does not want to participate. And many people to that, because of that, they were saying that it is not necessary we should not participate in the elections because it's like to play cards with the Sharpie, and that is why it is not necessary. Otherwise, other people were saying that even if the elections are fraud, we should take part in them, because we have various examples when the different regimes were changing at the elections. For instance, like in Chile in early 1990s. So I would like to ask you a broad question. In such circumstances, is it useful for the society to take part in such elections, or it is supposed to be some other kind of protest? I want to add one more thing, that in Russia and in Soviet Union before, there were the elections with one candidate. And many Russians, they, especially the older ones, they always believed that non-participation in the elections is the protest already. Because when you were coming to the polls in Soviet Union, there was one candidate, and if you wanted to vote against that candidate, you had to cross his or her surname. And the funny thing is that if you vote for this candidate, of course you just take the bulletin and throw it to the poll, to the bin. And if you vote against, you have to take the pen, but everyone knows that you have taken the pen. And this circumstances, of course, it was like a protest if you don't take part in the election. So my question is it a protest to take part in these elections, or you think it is not an appropriate way to protest against the political situation?